My name is Wida Yanti and I'm from 3B1. I want to speak from Kristen. The title is Build Your Tribe. Hello, good morning class of 2019. Thank you so much for having me. It is an incredible honor to stand here before you today. Thank you to the faculty, to the guests, the families, and to all the churches students among us who are beyond the shadow of a doubt, nursing, raging hangovers, and praying that this Disney princess keep the let it go metamorphose to a minimum. So I see you. I got you. I want to start today by sharing a secret about myself that you might not know. I did not graduate from college. Diane is in a full flop sweet thinking. Oh my god, nobody double checked. I had a feeling when I saw her outfit because no one with a respectable degree would wear help of that size. Who let her in here? But that leads me to another thing about me, which is I'm nice. And as it turned out, when you are nice, people tend to overlook a lot. In some cases, this could include experience, credential, not having your driver's license at airport security, and yes, that is true. Story twice. And you might say, Kristen, no, that's not a result to being nice. That's the result and the privilege of being a recognizable person. And okay, that might be true, but I will counter with my husband, who is also highly recognizable and doesn't get away with anything. Literally 10 or out of 10 times he's getting a pat down at TSA. And that's because he's just not as nice as me. Don't get me wrong. I love him. He's brilliant. He's hilarious. He is literally my favorite person, but he is even nice person. I don't know, guys. I don't know. And I tell you this at the risk of divorce because I can offer you the tricks of how to wield your shining diploma to ensure success. I can tell you the answer to the age-old actor dilemma. Should I move to New York? Should I stay in LA? And for goodness sake, I cannot tell you what a Magna Carta is or what it even does. I literally don't know. I don't have to answer any of this question. And let me tell you a secret. Nobody has the answer to these questions. My sole trick to share you with you is when you listen. When you really listen to people. When you listen firstly as you want to be heard. When you respect the idea that you are sharing to the earth with other humans, when you lead with your nice foot forward, you will win every time. We live in an age of distant gratification, of immediate likes, and it is uncomfortable to have to wait to see the defiance of your kindness. But I promise you, it will appear exactly when you need it. It will appear at the precise moment when you pass gas in an elevator and everyone blames your husband instead of you. That is when the boomerang of kindness hits you back. It's also a very true story, numerous times over. Though it wouldn't be fair if you just was on about kindness, and I didn't also include the inevitable downsides. It's relevant to know that sometimes when you choose nice, it does come with a price tag. Being nice sometimes means avoiding the obvious joke, like for instance, I'm me and I've chosen this path, this speech, to be nice at an institution like this. I am choosing not to reference Aunt Becky in any way, shape. Thank you. In fact, I'm so nice, and I'm not even going to mention my actual aunt, Becky, for fair. It is simply too close to the fire, and let me be real. Removing those jokes is a bit of a sacrifice, but dare I say, prioritizing your emotional intelligence over your logical intelligence can at times feel like a compromise, but it does pay off. You are right, to pay off not. It was not the best choice of words for this particular. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. And you know what? I should have led with that. I am by no means perfect. I am also not telling you what to do. I mean, my second child is the result of unprotected makeup, sex in a hot tub in the Hawaiian island. I am in no position to give advice. Hand to God, I can't do it. All I can do is share my experience with you. My husband always says, if you see someone who has what you want, ask them how they get it. Unfortunately, Beyonce has yet no reply to my email, so I don't have all the answer yet. But she will, like, don't worry. She is definitely going to. So I'm pretty sure I say this because if there is anything about my life that seems even slightly aspirational, hopefully some of this will be helpful of you, and if not, feel free to slowly pull the flask hiding in your unroll out and just have it. I'm not your mom, you know what I mean. It's if it's not hurting anyone, great, get yours. And you know what? Maybe share some with your neighbors. Know the tricky thing about finding someone who has what you want is it. You also have to know what you want, right? So that seems simple enough, but it's actually very hard because our brains are arrogant as holes. The brains think it's running the show, but the heart is secretly pulling strings. It's very true. Our brains are the King Joffrey of our bodies, and our heart are the granite Tyrell, right? Very true. We think we know what we want, but we often have no idea what we need. And because of that, we often approach life with one goal, but we often have no idea what we need. And because of that, we often you we often uh, sorry, I mean and we end up finding our real purpose along the way. When I left New York and I came to LA, I had the singular goal of becoming the lead on a TV show. I had gained some experience in Europe playing a naive with obsessed sex pot and River Madness. I thought, perfect, I am ready for Los Angeles. Surely I will be embraced immediately, so I hopped on a plane. I arrived in the land where the streets are soaked in sunshine and self-tanner residue. I had the confidence of an observant freshman at a frat party. I was like, here I am, and I began the process of auditioning, which it's really just a condensed why to say driving back and forth to Santa Monica in rush hard traffic, but the feedback that I received was that I was always either too young, too old, too cute, too plain, too smart, too dizzy, too ditzy. It was as if Goldilocks were every casting director, and I just couldn't nail it. And eventually, I started booking some coaster and quest star roles, but my coveted lead eluded me, and I would go the to bed negotiating with the universe. I would say, okay, if I could just book the lead on, TSI and TSA Miami, I promise I will decrease my carbon footprint by the least 6 next in the next calendar year. So clearly I know absolutely nothing about the measure of carbon. I find it almost as confusing as the concept of the Magna Carta. But then it happened. I was cast on Veronica Mars, which was my first show, and everything I ever wanted was in front of me. I was earning a real paycheck. I was the lead of a TV show. I owned the Universal My Carbon, but once we started shooting, something very unexpected happened to me. Well, to unexpected things. The first was Ryan Hansen, who played Dick Casablancas. His hair, it was the exact, almost too accurate to one point shade of silver bone blonde boy. It was like the kind that gives you PTSD from walking along. Then a speech that you are just like, wow. It was terrifying and I love it. The second was that despite the recognition of my dream, I wasn't happy like at all. My arrogant little was as whole brain could not comprehend what was happening. I was like, how is this possible? This is what I want and what I need, right? And yet I had it all and I was lonelier than I had ever been. And and it wasn't until the boy with the silver hair invited me to his birthday party after hours upset away from work that everything changed. He wasn't just inviting me to his birthday party, he was inviting to me to his life party, to his community, and finally felt at home. And I met some of the best friends that I still have to this day. It is retrospect. I know it wasn't the role I was looking for. It wasn't a paycheck or a titular character. What I really needed was friendship. So I want to stretch to you, but your tribe, they will keep you alive. Also pretty sure that that's what Beyonce would say. Speaking of pillars of an American entertainment, it is now portion of the morning where I remind everyone that life is 50 shades of gray. I have to assume I am the first speaker in an academic institution that has referenced the book 50 Shades of Grey, but we have already established that I dropped out of college. I have no right to be here, so this is where we arrive. I don't know what you want me to do in my life. There was only one concept that I have determined. It's that everything is gray. Every person, every question, every tragedy, every victory, they all have nuance. Pay attention to the nuance. You all in this room, I feel like know that better than anyone. You know it in your bones because you have devoted your time to building stories, building people. It's what you do. Your people are architects. You read a script and you construct a walking, breathing human from the ground up. When we create characters, we are encouraged to make them three-dimensional, right? And acting two-dimensional characters, they are at the least boring and at the most extreme irresponsible. We are told to embrace complicated characters. We are taught that you can't accurately play a villain until you find one thing about him that you love. One of favorite producer has a poster over his desk that read, "What does the villain want?" Because in art, we recognize all the characters start with an empathetic motivation on stage. We prioritize listening because we know the livelihood of the show relies on it. We are good at remembering to sing when we make art, but in our daily lives we tend to forget. When we shift from the stage to reality, no one seems to get lost in the shuffle in real life. We don't look the one thing we love about each person. Complicated characters get cast out, and we view things two-dimensionally. It's also becoming increasingly apparent we're not listening to each other, even though, like on stage, the livelihood of this intriguing show relies on it. The great news is we can all choose, right? When hard some moment arise, you can lean on the experience you've gleaned in the past 4 years, and you can choose the nuance. You can choose complexity over simplicity. You can listen to others with open ears, and as if your next move depends on it, you can Sandy Meisner your life. So class of 2019, as you move your trestle from the left to the right and officially takes the stage step forward toward your forever, I encourage you, take them with your nice foot. And if you take away one thing from his, remember what I said earlier. If it's not hurting anyone, great, get yours and maybe share some with your neighbor. Thank you and congratulations.